Brand, booking, and retention. Jimmy Ezzell's framework for agency growth.
Welcome to the Modern Insurance Agent Podcast.
We're your host, David and Al Denning.
What happens when a millennial couple dives headfirst into the insurance world, scales $1 million remote business, and decides to share the journey with the world?
You get the Modern Insurance Agent.
Here, we reveal the messy, magical, and sometimes hilarious realities of building a business and a life you love.
From traveling the globe to building remote teams. Yes, even working remotely on top of a mountain in the Philippines. We're sharing insights, strategies, and plenty of laughs to help agents and entrepreneurs succeed.
Because, let's face it, success isn't just about hitting numbers.
It's about designing a life that works for you.
So let's dive in and build something extraordinary together.
Welcome back to the Modern Insurance Agent Podcast. If your agency looks and sounds like everybody else and your no-shows and churn are creeping up, today's guest might be your unfair advantage. But before we hop into everything today, if you go to jumpstartgonow.com/podcast, we got show notes, all the goodies put together for you, as well as how to connect with our awesome guest today. So go grab it and go hop in. And today we have Jimmy Ezzell, the founder and CEO of TripValet Incentives, joining us. Since 2017, they've helped tens of thousands of clients worldwide turn vacation incentives into real business outcomes, more appointments, more referrals, and better retention. He just rolled out a corporate advantage program so teams of 20 plus agents can deploy incentives at the same time and at scale. So let's dig in. Welcome to the show, Jimmy.
Awesome. Thank you, David, for having me. Appreciate you and Elle so much, and just our friendship and all the things you guys are doing in the insurance space. I love it.
I appreciate it. And man, when did we first meet each other, Jimmy?
I think back in 2017, 2018, around that time frame.
I think so too. It was pre-COVID, and we connected. And I know we met originally virtually, and now we've had the chance to meet multiple times in person, even vacation together in Mexico, taking advantage of TripValet Incentives ourselves and using that. And Elle and I have used it ourselves for booking travel and used it in Bangkok, Thailand, booking a hotel and saving hundreds, in fact, it might even 1,000 plus over that time period that we saved off of that. And so we love travel. I know you guys love travel, and even better if we can use that as part of our businesses to grow and scale on that side, which we've used personally ourselves as well. So I'm excited to talk about today. I think the best place to start is always at the beginning, right? So Jimmy, when were you born? Just kidding. We'll start a little bit more recent. Give us a short version from collecting cans for Trip to Worlds of Fun to building travel incentive platform. What sparked the idea for TripValet, and how did TripValet Incentives and everything get born?
Yeah, I'll definitely give you the short version. But yeah, I always tell people I was made in the Philippines, raised here in America, came over when I was 4 years old, grew up in a blue collar, hardworking family. So it wasn't like I grew up traveling. And as a matter of fact, it's funny that really growing up, like I said, blue collar, hardworking family, my mom and I would actually collect aluminum cans on the weekends from just like the local bars, and first generation from the Philippines, and we collect these aluminum cans. And I remember going down the basement, David, and there'd be these big black trash bags that we'd fill up. And then I live in Kansas City, folks, and so at that time I was living in St. Joe, Missouri, and we'd save those cans and turn them all in, David, and then take that money and go to Worlds of Fun. And that's actually what I thought vacations were. And then my wife and I, we ended up getting married and went on a honeymoon to Cancun, our very first trip, actually, together and out of this country. And man, we were hooked ever since that time. And then fast forward, was in corporate America, and then of course became an entrepreneur. And then someone showed me some technology, travel technology that we acquired, and I was like, back in 2017, and we were like, you know what? Let's go build a great business. Started out really just on the membership side, David, just giving people access to travel, discounted travels. We call them escape trips. And then in 2018 is actually when TripValet Incentives was born. Yeah.
I love it. And so around the time we met, and like that just giant growth off of that side. And you've had tens of thousands at this point using the platform and using it for their businesses. What problem were agencies begging you to solve? And especially for TripValet's being born out of TripValet.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And so in 2018, I'll tell you the backstory. Someone came to me and said, you should use vacation sims to grow your travel company. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And I looked at that company, but found out they were a timeshare company.
Mm.
And and so I was like, and then what ended up happening is I was vetting it out. And it was like, they had like 1,500 complaints. And I was like, and they're all about people complaining about timeshares. And, nobody wants to be caught for 4 hours on a vacation, right? And so I was like, well, that's not good. We don't want to do that, especially the kind of clientele we were attracting and wanted to attract. And so when it happened, I started calling vendors, and we started the program to be a non-timeshare company. And ever since 2018, it's been our niche. And as I go through this, you'll quickly know and realize why we're not a timeshare, because of course our agents can use it over and over and again. And most of the incentives out there, if you see something that says $299 for Cancun, it's a hook. It's pretty much going to be a timeshare to get you there. If you see those ads, and but for us, how we've done it is we put the professional side of it and let our top two industries. Number one is real estate, and then number two is insurance, and then you move into solar and all the way down. But the reality is, giving people these vacation incentives to grow their business, keep their clients, is really what has accelerated. So 2018 we launched it, and we've never looked back. And then like what you had kind of mentioned earlier, we've really accelerated our corporate advantage program as well.
And for those that maybe are newer to TripValet Incentives, to you, can you give a brief kind of overview of especially TripValet Incentives, what that is, and how this relates to businesses like insurance agents?
Yeah. The reason why this works is that resorts, every single day when today ends, any rooms that aren't filled, they lose that revenue. So what we do for all our agents is that we book those empty rooms with your clients. I mean, of course you can use it as well, but we book those rooms with your clients. And Dave, you saw some of these, the one resort that we were on, beautiful resorts, right? And so the reason why it works is because the resort is getting some revenue. It's going to be from the restaurant, the spa, of course, all the drinks. And the one thing that we didn't really recognize as social media kept on growing really, is that people take selfies and they tag the resorts. I mean, how many of you, when you go on vacation, you do, we probably all do, we post our pictures, right? And we tag wherever we're at. Well, resorts love that because it's free publicity. Checking in, that's a big deal. All these things that help their algorithm. And so that's why they do it. And we've been very fortunate to, send a lot of people all over the world with these things, with our incentives. And so that's why it works. And then basically how it works is that if you want me to get into that, David, share with them how it works, is that they just, when you activate a vacation, how we do it is we have them pay a small fee and they activate it. And then, unlike some others, we don't make everyone pay their taxes up front. Because the reality is, some people, they might not travel 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, maybe even a year. And we give them a full year to then go on that vacation. So whenever you're ready, then they just pay the taxes and fees. And then by the time you're all done, maybe you're in for a studio for about $350 for the entire week, right? Or maybe a one bedroom for literally right at about $425 for the entire week of one bedroom, and then about $450 all in for an entire week for a two bedroom. And so huge value. And typically people will say, Jimmy, what will, is it the JW Marriott? No, you're typically anywhere from the 3.5 to 4.5 star properties all over the world, because sometimes you get into some of these maybe second and third world countries that where there's not a lot of options, but yeah, so anywhere around that. But and then also, because we do online bookings for our number one incentive, that there's 100% booking. So they'll always find something, they can book it online. We've been doing this for a while, so that member experience is really, really big for us as well.
I love that. And I know for a long, long time, individuals have been able to use this and take advantage of this. And we've used it. I've seen so many insurance agents use it and leverage it. Why launch Corporate Advantage now? And what does that unlock and the big benefit you saw of launching that?
Yeah, as business, as you've been around for a while, things have evolved. And what ended up happening was, it actually just happened about a year and a half ago. A company came to us and said, "Hey, would you mind putting your product inside of our company and letting everyone use it?" And I was like, Yeah, let's look at it. And so that was a big success. And then after that, we were like, wait a second. And since then, it's kind of been growing steadily, with that. And yes, we still have our individual users, but the corporate advantage, what it's done, David, and as it's progressed, like we just picked up another one. Won't necessarily mention names, but they have 15,000 agents, right? And so what ends up happening is everyone in the organization can use it now. And so what we do is we have like an upfront, development cost to put it in their back office, work with their development teams. And then what ends up happening is everybody gets access to it. And I think the biggest thing here is that, typically individual users, you may have some of your top producers use it. And then the ones that maybe are in and out, and sometimes you have some turnover, they won't use it. So it kind of actually hurts the organization. But what we found out is if you put it in and everybody gets it, then they all want to use it. And so we still give them the travel portal. We still give them the unlimited vacation incentives. We can still do the curated trips as another benefit for them, for their organization. But the fourth one and the big one is really, they get me, David, and just to help train them and their entire organization, whether it's live or of course, a full library, to help them really use incentives and really, grow their business and keep those clients.
Well, yeah, getting you is the big bonus, right? So we've gotten to travel with you. You're amazing, but also the space better than anybody else out there, especially on how to start using this for the business side. So where do incentives specifically fit into insurance, and how agents and agencies are using these in regards to like lead gen, show up rates, conversions, referrals, retention? How are they being implemented?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways. I'll just highlight a few big ones. I think right now with social media, that's a big piece. And how do you get more eyeballs on you as an agent? So of course, we see a lot of agents would run contests, right? Name that policy price. They may say, okay, how much is a policy for a non-smoker, 35, blah blah blah. And all this stuff, and then they'll get guesses versus like anytime you. Let's just be honest. Sometimes agents, this, you post something and like it's crickets, right? So you got to get some engagement, more eyes on that brand. And so little things like that. Of course, I think also the agency owners can do multiple things with this in terms of, can never use it as an inducement, but maybe on the delivery of a policy, right? That's a big one, as a thank you. Of course, on anniversaries, on the policy anniversary, those are always great. Anytime you want to, get a policy review, okay, and do that, you can always implement that. For sure, anytime birthdays, anniversaries, those are big. Major holidays like Christmas. I mean, you can, you just put it in your basically your DMO and how you're doing this for your agency. One of the things too, Google reviews is big. A lot of people love giving those out, and run campaigns around that. So those are just a few of the ways. But then you move into like building your email list, right? That's a big one.
Yep.
Because we can put it on the website and on the company's website, or of course they can do it individually in the back office. But everybody that comes into the list, just for a quote, things like that, you can always send out a vacation that way. And then of course every time you do conventions, trade shows, those are big. Referral partners. Anytime there's appreciation ideas like National Nurses Week, Teachers Week, networking events. There's just so many different ways, David, to use them.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is extremely versatile, and like how you can use and leverage it for improving things like no show rate, right? If there's some sort of extra reason for them to show up to that appointment, then you're going to increase that show rate and reduce that no show rate, which I know is huge, right? Like if I don't have the opportunity to sit down and go through and talk with someone, I definitely can't sell them or help them with a policy or protect them. Right. So increasing the show rate's really huge, right? And therefore, if I can increase the show rates and more opportunities to sit and talk and quote, then I'm decreasing my cost per sale of how much I have to invest money and time wise to ultimately end up as a sale, which means I'm more profitable, right? And I think you mentioned a lot of things, but referrals, right, as well. Like if I'm using this in regards to them, hey, for every referral you send me, I'd love to get you one of these, or referral contests. Like additional referrals or additional profitability for the business too. And then retention, just the customer and client experience. A lot of agents absolutely just, yes, I've sold you a policy, you'll never hear from me again, and there's no touch points, there's no client experience really. So then they wonder, hey, why does everybody change policies or cancel their policies or don't work with me? And they don't have really any sort of touch points, and this is a high value touch point, right?
Yeah, David. You hit it right on the head there. The whole touch points. You've heard of this company called Follow Up Boss, which we're one of their approved app vendors, and the thing is, I know some agents use that as well, and but the thing is, staying in front, top of mind awareness, and however that looks. I gave you lots of different things you could use, but just making it part of your overall business strategy and keeping in touch, and as well as marketing, is definitely going to help.
So I have these unlimited vouchers that I can use for these different areas and things. And there's a million and one ways to use them. Do you find within your community or within the companies that are using these that you're showing them and highlighting these different ways they can use them to leverage them to where, I never thought about using it like that, and I see these people having so much success, I should do that same thing?
Yeah, and the reason, the organizations, some agents, they still everything from door knocking, of course, to social media. I mean, there's so many different ways, and even the door knockers. That's another great way. If someone will actually let you, give you a quote, those type of things, let you in, that type of thing. So, what we're just finding out is that depending on the company and and the products that they're selling, it just can give them that little extra oomph, And I always tell people the reason why, incentives work, not only vacation incentives, but any type of incentive, but especially vacation incentives, because it's such a high value, is that if all things are, comparable and I, you offer me an incentive and I don't, I mean, who tends to at least get some awareness? Who tends to at least cause them to want to take some action or at least pay attention? Because when you offer a vacation incentive, someone goes, oh, even if they're curious, what, how could I get a complimentary vacation, right? Just for coming into the office or jumping on this, quote and just learning more about the products that you offer. So it can definitely differentiate yourself.
I love it. And I mean, and with that, not only is there a lot of ways to use these, which we can always highlight, but do you see these agencies or corporations that are using this on the corporate advantage? Are they also doing any sort of trips together or with their leadership teams or anything like that they're implementing?
Well, yeah, the thing too is because there's a third piece of this, and yes, we actually offer the curated trips. We have DMCs all over the world. We have a director of travel. As a matter of fact, at the time of this recording, I'm getting ready to go to Cancun. I was telling you, David, right, with one of our groups, and so we can do those type of things and set those up. And so even if you want to do an incentive within your company as well, we can do all over the world. We can do these, and so. That's a great added touch as well. So you can use incentives, but then we can also do, exclusive incentive trips where we call them curated trips because typically we'll have a host there to make sure that the owner, doesn't have to really mess with anything and they can enjoy just being with their, their agents and their teams. Or if you're a big mega team, we do know some, agencies are big mega teams underneath agencies. And so we can of course service them as well.
Yeah, being able to do that with your top agents or just your internal supporting staff, and being able to help with that culture, that personal time with them is so key. I know whenever we get to see our team in person, as we're a distributed team as well, it's a special time to come together, and that's a really exciting way to celebrate, to spend time training to reward, to be able to do things like that. And it's the same thing like with your prospects and your clients. With this is a great way to build that relationship, lead with value. And we're not talking about the actual sale of the policy. We're talking about them showing up to their appointment, them sending referrals as thank yous, reminders for anniversaries, for all these other ways that you can use this that all affect both your show rates, your close rates, your retention, all these things that you can utilize this for, right? And so I love that. Oh, okay, I have a giant organization. Instead of individuals having to get this, use this, implement this, I can do this as an organization, and then I can build training around this. I can build this as part of our overall processes and SOPs, so I can make sure that this is used and leveraged in that way. And you can absolutely do that compliantly as long as you're not inducing the sale, like we talked about, right? So, and so with that, I have an organization, 200, agents. What does that look like as far as onboarding? Is this something that takes a long time to set up? How's it? What's that whole implementing that for an agency look like?
Yeah, we've got it pretty dialed in now. So what ends up happening is we'll do a first discovery type of call, look into the back office with you, and see where it might best fit, and then we go to work, because we have a pretty good idea. We've done quite a bit of these now. So but reality is we can get somebody in their back office, depending on what you guys that client's doing, but within a week. I mean, it doesn't take that long anymore. And so, we've got it dialed in pretty good. And then the next thing is just kind of how the launch strategy. How do we want to roll it out? Adoption is super important for us. And so I really work with the ownership on that, and the marketing teams and whoever they assign to us. But just that's the thing about this type of the Vantage program really, is that they get that one-on-one big enterprise edition, but they also get our entire team to make sure that we're implementing it, because there's some great reward for the organization when they start to see that needle move, and like, oh wow, all of a sudden we're getting all these redemptions from all of our existing customers, right? And there you go. Hey, it's September, and we gave out all the anniversary policies, and look how many people actually are redeeming these. That's a good sign that people are getting it, and so we want to work with the companies on that.
I love that. And what kind of assets are you providing as far as not just like, I'd like to also hear, yes, the travel portal, what that looks like, as well as the incentives themselves. But are you providing any sort of assets like either scripts, emails, landing page kind of follow up? Like, how can I plug this into my maybe existing CRM systems and stuff to leverage?
Yeah, the good thing is we work a lot and go high level. So we have that, one of those, and so a lot of people do that. And then of course we've already built campaigns and like follow up boss. But a lot of people, we find out, and then if they need something special, we've got some pretty common things per industry that's already out there. But in terms of the development in their back office, they, of course, like you said, they get their travel portal stuff, they get their travel login, two different things there. They're going to get their unlimited vacation incentives inside of there. They're going to get a PDF if it's in back there that they could also download. I mean, this, because you got to remember, it's like everybody's back office, right? And so just little things like that. And then you've got the resource center or library that if they, what we can put in there from video trainings or recorded lives, any other marketing assets that they may need, any swipe copy they may need. We do that all. We have all that stuff. Yeah.
I love it. And not only is it all of that, but also like your expertise and how you've seen it being successfully used and leveraged so that they can successfully roll that out and use that internally with their organization. What's your favorite kind of first 30 days of ways of rolling it out and them starting to use it initially that you've seen organizations successfully do?
Yeah, getting the agents to start using it. So right off the bat, we want to go after all the existing clients, because that's kind of hey, big splash. Listen, thank you for being a client. This is your 1 year, 2 year, 3 year anniversary, because it's brand new to them, and then giving them all a vacation, and then very quickly moving into training the field, especially for like appointments, like the no show and show rates, and getting those up, making sure that people are using them on the back end. And then also just some type of, looking at their touch point systems, like how often are agents and how can we put that in? Is it the 6 month and the annual? Is it birthdays and anniversaries? How do we do that? And then of course the other piece is just how can they start to use it for social media? Because a lot of them, of course, are out. They're either buying leads or they're hunting, right, and doing active prospecting or attraction marketing, and that we can show them how to do some of that stuff as well.
Of that, as we're big fans of social ourselves, just a tiny bit, and teaching, showing agents how to use that, leverage that to bring in clients, referrals, referral partners, and this is a great way to use that alongside of that attraction marketing, like you said. But I love the initial rolling out to existing book of business and clients, right? Because if I'm rolling this out and if it's having an impact on additional referrals coming out, especially because I'm, easy reason to reconnect with them, to give them something and to highlight that, lead with value, but also easy to then move into, hey, who else have you talked to or know that could use this? Easy way to lead into referral conversations to increase that side, but also this high value of an impact as far as retention. I'll be honest, most agents and agencies, like we said earlier, don't have really these touch points or this, and this is where, even if this has like a 1 to 5% bump on retention and then additional referrals coming through, you're talking tens and thousands of dollars of impact it's having on that organization and that agency off of that, if not even more from there, right? If this is leading to additional opportunities for policies, I'm not even counting that, and that's even more there as well. So it seems like almost an immediate huge impact there, and then yes, for continuous prospects and referrals from ongoing. So, and that's why people are leveraging this, is because it has those sort of impact and increase in profitability and retention as well, right? So a lot of people are like, well, how can I provide any value to my clients? Like, well, I can send them an anniversary card, or I can shoot them an email, or just say hi, like, versus, oh yeah, I help send them to Cancun, right? Like, your anniversary card probably is not going to stack up against Cancun, right?
Yeah, well, David, here's the thing. I'm gonna give you a real life story. So I live in Kansas City, and there's the really, really big agent here, and we had a happy hour, and he's been here with us since 2018, and he goes, Jimmy, I got someone going down to Branson, Missouri, from Kansas City. It's not that far. And he goes, man, she's so excited. She's like all week long for $350. She loves it. And I said, but you really understand what this still is about, right? And he's like, what? And I go, well, she's never going to pick another agent ever, because every year she goes on vacation with you guys. Like she's not ever and here's what's great. When she shows her pictures, and if she's talking about, because, insurance, like, when people talk about it, it's like, oh, they may say some things or whatever. But when you're like, no, my agent gave me that vacation, we were down at the lake in Branson, Missouri, and, or Cancun, Vietnam, Italy, wherever they're going. But they say my agent gave it to me. And they're like, my insurance agent never gave me no vacation. You're like, dude, I barely even get I don't even know if I got anything but something in the mail or an email saying that, keep paying your invoice or whatever. So keep paying your premium. And so, but yeah, that creating that memory and experience is actually what I love, because I love hearing those stories. That's what I hear. And so we know they definitely can make an impact.
Well, think of even even as the agents within these agencies are using these trips and these vacations to go on one themselves and save just internally for the agent going on vacation. Think of as having an agency or a company. If your team's now able to go on trips and celebrate really affordably from that and experience that, not only is that a better culture, a better atmosphere, but they also get to gather social content while they're on that vacation, right? So I was like, oh, well, I need content for my marketing, my attraction marketing, everything. Let me shoot my videos, my content while on this trip. And let me even tag the agency. Hey, so thankful for XYZ insurance agency that I get the opportunity to travel and they help send me on this trip or wherever. Well, I want to go work there. So even though like recruiting sides and culture sides of these agencies in companies there as well. So I mean, you think about the impact that has, in insurance, it's retaining your agents as well and having that culture, having them show up, and that can have an impact on all those things. Whereas agencies are trying to recruit all day long. If I get to stand out and be unique from that too, that's a huge impact it has also.
Yeah, the studies are definitely out on travel and vacations, how important it is in a sales organization in corporate America and culture. I mean, there's no doubt it's good for people to take vacations and take some time off and not get burned out and all those things. And so, yeah, especially in sales organizations, you're grinding, you're hustling, and so it's good to give them that little, hey, you guys can use it too, like use it for all the things that we talked about, David. But then, of course, you guys enjoy it as well.
Well, and that's the thing, like insurance carriers know how impactful important vacations are and incentives because they use that every year. You hit this goal and you get to go to whatever this location is, Dublin or Cancun and stuff there. But it's something that agencies, insurance IMOs, FMOs, and agencies haven't been able to tap into. They just rely on the carriers getting it off, and the carriers get all the glory of like, oh, it's the Mutual of Omaha trip, it's the AmAm trip, it's the Transamerica trip, right? But if you as an agency get to put together either agents can individually use these at their own leisure, which is also like, oh, I can't make the big carrier trip because the dates don't work. Well, I can go take a trip myself with one of these, or putting together like with you with one of these experience trips where now this company gets to offer this and they get to look good or agency looks good. Does your company send you on anything? No, just the carriers, but my company sends me on stuff. That's a huge win. So I love that. I love thinking about just the use cases of this, right? And like we said, the possibilities are endless of the ways you can use these, right? Especially if you got a good marketing mind and chops, you can use these 101 different ways. Now, Jimmy, you've been 30 plus countries, which is awesome. I'm a big traveler. I don't know if I quite hit 30, but I'm high 20s. I'm pretty sure I counted up. So I need to get on your level with some additional new countries there. But what did travel teach you about relationships and loyalty that applies to just any business industry, but even insurance in particular?
Yeah, I think there's something about the experience of travel, right? It's creating these memories, and if you're giving that gift to your clients, that's hard to take away. They don't forget that stuff. I mean, I think that's the biggest reason. Like I was just sharing that one story. I mean, I could, there's so many of them, and the reality is, it's like when agents understand all the things we talked about, yes, but at the end of the day, you become the hero. Like, we want to make you the hero for those clients, right? They're not going to be thinking about other agents. I mean, especially if someone comes to them and they're trying to take that business and they're only off a little bit, like, or the premium is not that much higher or whatever, or less. And now, but they know, well, you know what? My agent, he takes care of me. She takes care of me. Every year I get a vacation. Every year, and even if they're not going, it's the gesture that maybe something happened that year, I got sick or whatever, but they can go again next year. You just keep adding it into your, how you do business. Those little things add up. But yeah, traveling the world. I mean, you as you love to travel too. I mean, these experiences that people give, I always tell people I have the best job in the world, man. I get to hear all these type of stories, including yours, and we had fun, right? People just love traveling and having fun. I mean, they do.
Absolutely. Those pictures still pop up on my memories on Facebook and everything for that trip, and actually had a blast. And Elle and I, we love travel. And for us, it's our favorite thing to do is experiences, and especially through travel, through cultures, food, wine, cocktails, whatever that is, but like through the experiences and shared experiences through that. And so for us, rather than possession or item or kind of a little bit minimalist or ever, we'd much rather do that on travel and experiences. So this fits in. I know a lot of people value more the experiences, especially as you get down. Millennials, Gen Z tend to value more experiences than items, and travel is just such a great way to create these memories. I can't remember like, okay, what 2 cars ago, what car did I have? Or, oh, I remember this TV I had 10 years ago as far as my TV, like items that is transition, but I can remember that vacation. I can remember that trip. I can remember that experience and, getting to chase around, like, watch the turtles on the beach or whatever, or get to hang out in that pool, or that, get to meet up with these friends. So I love that one of the biggest things I've learned is that people value experiences and relationships. And we've been a big proponent, and I know you are on the real estate side and us on the insurance side as well, is that it's relationship businesses, right? And it always has been. I think people trick themselves into thinking it's a transactional business, and those are the people that also just get phased out with AI and technology. But it's always been a relationship business. And if I can have strong relationships, that impacts my sales, it impacts keeping clients and my retention, and impacts my referrals, and impacts the opportunities that I have to be on podcasts or to speak at conferences or to track, all these things come out of these relationships. So, what are ways that I can lead with value, make these connections, build these relationships, and keep them? And this is a great example of something that can absolutely help in all those areas. And our relationships example as well. Like, how long have we known each other and been constant, in communication and done these things together? And so that's like, if you're like, man, I don't have a lot of relationships, I don't have a lot of connections, I don't, the industry, I find it really hard to find new business, or keep my clients, or create new referral partners. Like, I just don't really know how to do that. And like, lean into things that help you lead with that value, right? Because I think a lot of people just feel like they can't think of ways to provide value.
Right. Well, think about that. Even referral partners. I mean, sending a good referral partner, giving them a vacation, even if they just want to get away to go to Vegas or Orlando, somewhere, just for them to get away. But the gift of you giving that to them, and is huge. And David, for our analytical friends too, remember this: travel is the second largest industry in the world. I mean, you never want to take that away. So you want to position yourself, because when I got involved in travel in 2017, it was only a $7 trillion industry. Last year, we broke 13 trillion. And we're projected, though, to hit over 23 trillion, I think, by 21 trillion by 2032. So it's a growing industry. People are traveling. Like you said, the next generation, they want to travel. But then even the boomers are blowing out travel now, because now they're trying to use up that money. And so I'm just sharing with you that, like, that's why high value vacation incentives work so well, and so overall incentives cause people to do things. I mean, I always bring this up. McDonald's, I'm not promoting McDonald's, but $20 billion company, right? And when they run that Monopoly game, just that every time they do it, they move the needle 3 to 6%. And the time they do that little incentive campaign, that's big. You think about it. So
huge.
So that's why. So my job is, when I start working on the corporate advantage, with companies and organizations, is saying, hey, can we move the needle? What are the ways? Through retention, through more appointments, through more closings, all those things, more eyeballs getting on your presentations from referrals, and all these little different things, they do add up. Yeah.
And if they can do that through selling fries and, kind of iffy burgers, imagine sending people on trips and vacations, the impact that could have, right? And so with all that travel, just kind of, fun question there. Like, what's been your favorite location or spot or trip that you've been on?
Well, because we live here in America, we do go to Mexico a lot with not only escape trips of clients, but
let's do Mexico and then one outside of Mexico.
Yeah. But for sure, I mean, I love Singapore. I'm getting ready to go to Thailand this month. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at my certs right now, because I may be in Asia for a little longer, because I've got a couple other vendors to see and things like that. So yeah, same thing. I'm actually looking at the best way for me, because I love sharing my story too with people, another story. And Thailand's always one of my favorites. Singapore, of course. I still love Malaysia. I love, I really love Asia. Going over there, I think, David, you do too. I mean, there's just the culture, the food, and the people. But then, of course, my wife's a big EU fan. She loves Paris, Rome, all those places as well. And of course, we've been able to do that. And once again, those incentives are everywhere around the world. Yeah.
That's awesome. Making me miss Bangkok. I don't know if we're make it this fall, but it's definitely back on the list. And or especially Thailand, all of Southeast Asia. I haven't done Singapore. It's very high on the list. Would love to do that. Seoul and South Korea. And I'd love to do Tokyo. I'd love to do Japan. So I have to make another trip out there for sure. If you are going by Bangkok, let me know. Maybe get you go by my brother's old restaurant there that I'm pretty sure they still have their Michelin star, so should be good. So
I'll be there. I'll be there this into this month, into October. Yeah, I remember you telling me this last time. So yes, I would love to go eat at his restaurant and bring some of my friends there. Yeah.
Yeah, we get some. My sister-in-law's Thai, and they're up in Atlanta now, and so I have her cook up some amazing Thai food whenever we're up there. I can't, I can handle fairly hot food in America, but I can't handle the Thai heat. If she's making the food for herself, I can't even eat it. She sweats, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So, but no, the food's so good. But that's awesome. And so to kind of, as we close, I know obviously we have many stories we can share, many travel trips, and once again, just shows how impactful like trips and those experiences, relationships are through that. But what would you say to agency owners that are considering using TripValet or trip incentives for their business?
Yeah, I know we covered a lot today. I just know this. I think what it does is just starts to separate yourself from other agencies that aren't using it. I mean, if you go back in some of the things we just talked about, when your end client, which is super important, as well as your agents are having fun with vacations, I mean, that definitely starts to separate yourself from everyone else. Because if your end clients are being able to use it and your agents are using it to grow their business, but then they get to use it as well, I mean, you're winning all the way around. And because the Corporate Advantage program is such a high value. So if you don't know, our individual users pay us $947 for the year. This program, even if you had just 20 agents, and let's say it was at $10,000, it's well worth it. But we do special, we work with a client depending on what they're doing. I mean, so just know that, I mean, if you had 1,000 agents, it's well worth the amount of business and actually use that actually all those agents would be able to have access to, every single day. There's no question they don't have to buy the individual membership. Now you've really put it together for their agency to win.
Yeah, and if you also think about access, it gives those agencies and companies that if anybody's ever worked like for a big corporate company, they usually have their own internal like travel portals that you need to book through for trips and stuff like that. Or like, oh, you're going, we need to send you to this state to go do something, you book through our travel portal there. Well, that's not something the average company or agency has access to, anything like that. So now I get to give my agents, my team access for this travel and for bookings, not only just for the business, but they can use personally for travel and bookings off that too. So, I mean, that alone is awesome, but now you also add in the incentives and everything there too. There's so many ways you can use this and just bring extra even value to your company there. So, Jimmy, I really appreciate you joining us today. If people, hey, I want to find out more, I want to connect, I want to plug into this might be right fit for me, either as an individual or definitely for me as an agency and for all my team, how do they connect with you?
Yeah, just keep it simple. Just go to jimmyezzell.com. And especially for, if you just go to jimmyezzell.com, you'll see there you can book a time, especially for Corporate Advantage, anyone that has 20 agents or more. And listen, just so you know, I'm onboarding a 65,000 agent group right now. So it doesn't, and one that's about to break 100,000, and so just know this: we can handle big ones, and but yeah, just book a time if you're a Corporate Advantage, and then of course there's some information there if you're an individual user as well.
Perfect. I love it, guys. So make sure to go to jumpstartgonow.com/podcast. We'll have all the show notes plus the link for jimmyezzell.com to go connect with Jimmy there. Jimmy, thank you so much for joining us. We're so thankful for continued relationship there. Look forward to traveling again together on that. And thank you everybody for listening to this episode of the Modern Insurance Agent Podcast. We'll catch you guys on the next one.